Muted.
In the combination with Lattice technology. So my goal for this webinar is to extend your horizon and encourage you to bring your spare part service to the next level. To do so, let me see. I want to first tell you a bit about CatalogCreator. Then I have the privilege to present to you a dynamic 3D catalog. I want to talk a bit about the trend, where it's going, and touch the topic master data, the source for a catalog, just really quick. And finally show you how a catalog gets created. CatalogCreator is the main product of TID Informatik, which got established in 1992 with the headquarters in Germany. The first launch of CatalogCreator was in 2001 and became technology leader as an XML-based standard software for catalogs based on open web standards. More than 300 customers in more than 20 countries produce around 60,000 catalogs per year with CatalogCreator. Our key arguments to choose CatalogCreator: it's modern, flexible, effective, and it takes a short time to success with CatalogCreator. So just to give you an idea what kind of companies we work with, I have you here a small selection of some references. You might know one or the other. Here's some out of the agriculture sector. You probably notice Porsche, Toyota, Skoda maybe, Siemens, just to name a few. And you probably notice here, you notice Bosch, maybe one or the other. And here are some out of the medical field. Leica, it's quite big. If you have babies, you know Medela. And you probably know Stihl, the garden tools, chainsaws, etc. I'm super excited to present to you now the 3D catalog created with the all-new 2015 CatalogCreator. Before, we have a poll question for you to answer. So, as Mark said, please take about 20 seconds. I would really appreciate if you get back. Okay. As we can see, we have already quite a bit of audience here using electronic catalogs, and even if you using 3D catalogs. That's very exciting. And so I like to go over now and show you the catalog. But first, 3 years ago, TID Informatik took the risk to develop an all-new version of CatalogCreator. We started completely fresh and merged years of experience with latest technology. The result is stunning, as you will shortly see. But let's think, what is the true purpose of a catalog? The purpose is to identify the correct part with the least effort. And to provide exactly this, our standard output gives the user multiple options to find and purchase the needed part. So let's see this 3D catalog. What you see here is a radial engine from an airplane. And as you probably noticed, the screen is split into different sections. Over here we see the structure tree of the machine. We have here different tabs to switch between the views from a 3D model to a two-dimensional view, the drawing. In the lower part here, we have the parts list. And up here in the corner, upper right corner, we have a second view. So when we show the 3D model, we see the selected part. And we have here the option to switch and show the selected part on the main, in the main area, and have the overview up here and switch back. Below here on the right hand side we have all kind of additional information concerning the assembly, where we can add different kind of information. We can add any documents. Here as an example, it's a German version. I'm sorry, I have to add an English version sometime, but here we added the complete PDF file, spare part catalog. But I mean, any information related to this assembly could be attached right there, or even web links and additional part information. So, but let's talk about the purpose of a catalog. So, let's assume I'm a customer and I have a broken gear wheel for the cam gear somewhere in the middle of this engine. It's very intuitive. All I do now is I know it's somewhere right in here, and I double click. Something is going on, and as you can notice, we're moving down the structure tree deeper into the machine, into the engine. I know my gear wheel is somewhere behind this casing, so what can I do now? I don't see it. There's an option right here where I just hide the part, and here we go. I already found it. This is still an assembly. I want to go down all the way to the gear wheel by double clicking. I'm going one level deeper into the machine. And here's my part. Now to verify, I could also click on the drawing and have a different view, or whatever file format is attached to this assembly. I now can add it to my favorite list, or simply add it to my basket. Okay. Oh, now I just realized I forgot to add the hex nut which I need to mount this wheel. So, but now I'm too lazy to navigate through the whole engine again. So let's try out the search option. It's very intuitive again. I have here the option to type in any search word. In our case, let's use two simple words. We're going to search the entire catalog, and we're going to search through the entire structure because I have no clue where I found my gear wheel. Okay, it seems like I'm having a problem now because I found tons of hexagon nuts here and I have no clue which one is the one I need. But I remember the wheel I needed was for the cam gear, so I simply filter my result list with cam and one part is left. So I'm not sure if I'm just lucky at this point and got the right nut right away, but to double check, I just click on the part and I find an assembly which looks very familiar. I'm sure this is what I just had opened before, but I don't see the nut. So here we have another option where I just click on transparent view, and as you can see, here's my selected part. As well, when I go into the check out the drawing to confirm, and at this point I'm 100% sure I found the part I was looking for. So let's add this part as well to the basket. So this was super easy. Don't you agree? It is so easy. I actually know of a CatalogCreator customer who increased the revenue by thousands a year with selling standard parts. I know they didn't sell much standard parts before. It was not really lucrative because they had to increase the margin. But now, since it was suddenly so easy and convenient for their clients to add standard parts to their order, a higher margin did not matter anymore. Just imagine the time, hassle, and expensive downtime of a machine a customer can save by correct and fast identification. So now, after we added these parts to the shopping cart, at this point, we would customize the checkout option. We could simply turn the basket into an order email for manual processing, or hand it over to an existing web shop or ERP system for checkout. Or we could also pull real-time information like availability or pricing from an existing ERP or shop system. We also have here our favorite list, which is very convenient as well, since it collects all our favorites by catalog. Let's imagine we would have multiple catalogs. We would see them here, and here we can switch between the selected parts and assemblies, or documents. Let's add a document to see how that looks like. The loading time could be dramatically reduced by, we could also, let's do this first. We could go, we have a customer profile where I can change the settings, how I like things. So let's say the 3D model is nice, but it takes a bit time to load. So I rather want to see the categories right first as a first choice. I'll save it right in here. And it doesn't show me the category here because there is not such thing. But when I go to the engine, to the top, as you can see here now, I have all the categories right here. And now let's add this document to my favorite list. So when I go back now and go on the document tab, I have all the documents which I need related to this machine. And also when I go back to my search, it keeps here, it keeps the search history. So when I start a new search of let's try an article number. Here we are back again. I have here my search results. So this was a quick overview of the online 3D catalog. And I hope you liked it. But before I go to the next topic, we have another question for you to answer. Now that you have seen the catalog, I really would like to know if a 3D catalog is of any interest to you. So please answer this question. Just take a few seconds. Shouldn't take too long. And I hope people are nice to me and say yes. That would be interesting. Let's see the result. Okay, we see we have a majority not being interested in a 3D parts catalog. That would be really interesting to get a response on how is that. It's what I want to show you a bit is the trend we see. It's we have a so the trend we see, spare part catalogs used to be simple paper documents. I think we still see the results, right? Yeah. So spare part catalogs used to be simple paper documents, which then over time turned into electronic catalogs. Today the demand is changing. Much more is demanded. A modern spare part catalog could also be called an online service information system. So what is demanded? We have we always have less time, right? So the whole process should be automated, and we also want to have automated updates on catalogs to be up to date all the time. And ideally, we want to have individual catalogs based on serial numbers to make sure the correct part gets identified. And of course, we want to have on, offline, and even print catalogs. And as mentioned before, we have all kind of information. We either want to integrate the catalog into existing systems or integrate information from ERP, MCAD, webshop, etc. into the catalog. Therefore, we need two-dimensional, three-dimensional content, wire diagrams, multiple languages, should be multilingual, all kind of product information manuals and supplier documents. And of course, the functionality, we want to store user-dependent information, document management, spare parts, proposal, maintenance instructions, and so forth. Catalog Creator is our answer to this emerging trend. But where does all this information come from and how? But before I want to talk a bit about master data, I would like you to answer this next poll question really quick. What mechanical design software do you use? Okay, let's see the result. As we can see, most of us are using one of the major systems, SolidWorks, ProEngineer, Nucci, Inventor, Solid Edge, which is very interesting since we can use information of this system directly for your spare part catalog, as you will see later. So let's show my screen again. To create a simple online catalog, we don't need much. Some geometric data, ideally some three-dimensional MCAD models, usually kept within a PLM or PDM system, and a bill of material short BOM with a structure ideally representing an actual machine order with all the changes made to the BOM. But often this is not all. We probably have additional data, even from different databases. It could be information from a linguistic database, since corporate ERP systems often are limited to 4 to 8 languages. Or let's say we have the spare part prices in a different database, since the whole after sale gets managed by a different department on a different ERP client, for instance. In addition, imagine all the manuals and maintenance instructions which could bear valuable information for spare part service or spare part identification. Before I show you the creation process now with this kind of data, I would like to know who of you works with a PLM and ERP system. So please take a few seconds to answer the next question. Does your company use PDM, PLM, ERP systems? Okay, let's see the results. As we can see, the most of us are familiar with PDM, PLM, and ERP systems. Some don't know, and some only use PDM, PLM systems. If you're not using a ERP system, there's a high chance you already have the bill of material within your PDM system. I mean, it's not a high chance. I know you have. You do. So let's show my screen again. So how does such a catalog evolve? With Catalog Creator, a fully automated process is possible, from the raw data all the way to the published online catalog. The raw data is getting exported by the existing systems, and 3D MCAD files are getting converted with Lattice tools. And as you can see, here we have the raw data. Then CatalogCreator optimizes and standardizes the raw data by predefined rules with CatalogCreator and Lattice tools. For instance, old pixel drawings getting digitalized with Hotspot Editor, which means all the position numbers are accessible to create a link to the parts list, or we have all different kind of tools for XVL, which it would expand this webinar too much to go into details, but where we can make sure, for instance, intellectual protection is provided. And then CatalogCreator merges all this information and creates links between the BOM, drawings, and attributes. And all these links are created. And finally published as an interactive catalog and as a PDF, /printout document. I'd like to show you now on some sample data how we teach CatalogCreator on how to process our data. Once this is done and the source files are consistent, we can create catalogs fully automated. If you can follow here what I'm showing next, don't worry, it should only give you an idea. So this is the all-new 2015 CatalogCreator. The release 1.0 was just a few weeks ago. And don't worry, as I said, I will not go too deep. What you see here, those are some source files. We have the 3D models exported, fully automated with Lattice. Here you see the Lattice toolbar to look up information as an example. We have the structure tree out of the MCAD model, or even can look up properties out of the CAD system. We have two-dimensional drawings processed with the Hotspot Editor. And as you can see, this is a pixel file, but all the position numbers are digitalized. And the essence of our catalog, the structure file, in our case, a standard export semicolon separated file. Let's open it with the CatalogCreator Data Optimizer, where we can see where it makes the structure visible again. And as you can see here, the links to the files are already created. There are almost endless rules to create these links. We could look up a pool folder, or we can create it in combination out of any attributes out of our input files. We can combine index, part number. However, your company works with the file names. We can create the file links right here. And as an example, we have here some pool files, also some standard export formats with no structure, with a flat structure, in this case, pricing. Okay, now what makes CatalogCreator so powerful? It is the ability to create the connections between a 3D model, two-dimensional drawing, part list, and predefined attributes. So over the last years, we collected a library filled with standard attributes. And of course, we could add any new custom attribute to it as well, which I'm not going to do now. Now, I want to show you how we connect these attributes with our drawings and part lists. So here I can manage the whole assignments. Let's name it mapping. To give you an idea, I'll show you with an example. Let's assign the pricing, the US dollar currency to our CatalogCreator attribute. As you can see here, when I double-click, I can edit it. This is our pool file list, our pool file with the prices, and here are our attributes. And as you can see, we have US dollar here, and right here I'm creating the connection. You might notice some attributes are language neutral, which of course the currency is language neutral. We have other attributes like part name, which are probably in different languages. So this way, I'm not going to do this now, that would take too much time, but this way this is the other pool file, all the connections are made. We create the links between the attributes and our elements from the source files. Let's see, did that store it? Yes. Okay, so once this is done for all the files, all the attributes, we can go ahead and publish the catalog. I have here pre-stored settings where all our requirements are put in, how to publish a catalog. Again, here too, that's a one-time thing. So all I need to do now is select my catalog. You see the assignment, I just called it structure. This would be the part list, the structure list, which I assigned to create this catalog. And the languages I can select or deselect the available languages. And this is not limited. I mean, there's like whatever your company uses. And, oh, yeah, I have to close the catalog first so I can override it. So let's republish this catalog. Now CatalogCreator is pulling all the information together. It reads all the part IDs from the 3D files and connects it with the part lists from the two-dimensional drawings. Takes a bit of time. It has to go through hundreds of IDs. and it creates the database. And that may take also some time depending on the size of the catalog and the amount of files and links being created. And that's a successful run right now. If something would be wrong, it creates a report, and we would get an error message, and we could go back to our source data, find the error, solve it, and republish. So let's see what got produced. And as you can see, the catalog got created. It's the same catalog I showed you before. Okay, let's assume we have a highly automated process. Quality assurance is very essential, especially, I mean, we don't see step by step what happens when we publish the catalog. So we have the option here. I mean, catalog. Oh, here we go. For each publication, CatalogCreator can create a quality analysis. Close this, which looks like this, where we see of a catalog, we see the quality history. We see, this is just an overview. We see the number we see the documents and the distribution of the media files. Very important, we see here the percentages. We see 94% of all the entry of the catalogs are correct. We have the option in a fully automated process to set a percentage. If we have anything below, the publication gets interrupted, gets stopped, and a report gets created. This would look something like here, where we see cancel under 100%. In the catalog we just created, we can go into detail. We can look at files. We instantly see damaged files right over here, where there's some error, which is a quality issue. Or what's even more exciting, we can see the drawing. We can see that there are 7 hotspots. That means 7 position numbers are connected to an entry in the bill of material, but we have 1 entry, so it's a total of 8. We have 1 entry which is not connected to the bill of material. I can just double click. This is a pixel drawing again, and right away I see where's the issue. I click on it and I see the part, and apparently this part doesn't exist in the catalog in the parts list. Let's double check. Let's find this drawing again in the catalog. And as you can see right away, it is true. Number 4 is missing. So at this point, we can go back, and ideally, we go all the way back to our either PDM system, ERP system, find the source of the error. And this way, I mean, I worked with so many companies because they started creating electronic spare per catalog, their master data quality increased dramatically. Because so far, this is one of the few applications where you, from the whole process line, you know, where you matched a bill of material and of the production chain, let's name it the order BOM, and match it with the PDM file. It really, pretty much any company struggles with master data quality, and this is I sometimes say CatalogCreator is actually a master data quality check tool, and it also creates a catalog, just as a joke. Okay. So let's to sum it up, I would like you to recognize the potential you could have with CatalogCreator and the benefit it could result out of it. I leave this open a bit longer, and I would like to give it back to Bill Barnes at this point for questions. We can go back into the CatalogCreator software or in the online catalog, in the dynamic catalog, if you have any questions. If you have specific questions about your system, technical questions, please contact us after this webinar. So yeah, I'll give it back to Bill. Thank you for listening and taking your time.
Thanks, Lucas. That was great. We do have a number of questions, so I hope you're going to stay unmuted so you can help answer some of these questions. So,
sure. Yeah.
So first, there was a question early on about, are we recording this? And yes, we are. So if you have colleagues that didn't get to see this, we will be putting a link, making a link to this recorded webinar available for others to see. So that's should be available for everybody. There was a question early on about, can we renumber how parts are numbered in the balloons? And I think you may have covered that in when you were setting up the catalog. But Lucas, can you talk a little about that? If you want to have you know, the balloon numbers, you can set those yourself, right? You can determine that specific order how you want it.
Right. I mean, to get the question right, is it actually to adjust the drawing, or?
No, it was answering the question right. Related to was, can you renumber how the parts are numbered in the balloons? The numbers were not in any specific order. So I think the answer to that is yes. You can set the BOM how you want it, right?
Right. So yeah, the question is, I mean, we have all different kind of links possibility. Like often companies work with the part number right on the drawing, or we have position numbers, balloon numbers. So the important thing here is the order or what it is doesn't really matter that much. Important is that we find both of it in the bill of material, right? So if that's more the core issue. But the way you want to display it, we're totally open. We have with yeah.
Great.
Maybe
so yeah.
Something about creating catalog drawings with Lattice tools, automated. That's another thing right there, you know, concerning this topic.
Great, thanks. And I guess another question related to bills of materials and other things was, a little bit more detail on how CatalogCreator interfaces with other enterprise systems such as ERP.
So the question is about integration, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's what makes, in my opinion, what makes CatalogCreator so outstanding, especially, I mean, in comparison to competitors, is that it is a fully and truly a web application. And we have, I mean, you have link options in SAP, for instance, or Versus. So, and our goal was really, when our programmers created this all-new version, is I would say any major ERP system, we can pull information. We find an interface, either a standard export format or there are custom interfaces already created.
Great. Then another question about, I guess, the integration is, can the software be used without the checkout option? For example, if it's only for internal employees, you don't have to use the shopping basket or that part of it, right, Lucas?
Absolutely. I worked with a client. They used it just internally for customer service. They want to have a system to identify their parts more easy. They were struggling with SAP, and there in the end, they actually came back and want to have the basket, but it was simply an email button. You know, they would click and then they would receive an email with the selected parts like this, or we just get rid of it, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
also, another question just came in. Can you limit what each user sees on the page of the catalog? For can you set it up so that different users maybe see different things and have access to different options?
Totally, yeah. We have a user management system in the background where we can create user groups. We can say see pricing, no pricing, see dimensions, especially because, I mean, intellectual protection is a big issue these days, where everybody's online, especially if you start open catalog. You have to be really careful what you put out there. But we also have the options to create customer logins, so actually only customers who own a machine get a login name and can log in. There's a complete user management system in the background.
Okay, and related to that, can you actually show an assembly without giving access to the parts underneath it? So, for example, just show the assembly, but not exploding it into parts. So
I'm not sure if I understood that right.
So maybe you show an assembly. We have an assembly of a gearbox, and we want to limit the customer to only being able to see and select the gearbox, not to explode all the parts of the gearbox. So, for example, you may want to force the customer to replace the whole gearbox and not be able to access the individual parts.
Right, yeah. We can set break criteria where we say we don't want to go into more details, where in that case the gearbox would turn into a part. It wouldn't be an assembly anymore. And we have total control of the, basically I can show it right here. I mean, we can, and also on the information, this is also a setting which we would put in, set in the user profile, where we can, let's say we don't want to, we just want to show the article number and the description, and I just took off the article number. In that case, that's a mapping mistake I made just before. So, but just to give you an idea, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and then
I hope I understood that question right. But
yeah, I think you got it right. So it's that case of limiting what's, so you can limit the level of part, you can limit the level which you can go down to on an assembly. So another question, how do we handle differences if you have the same product but maybe with different serial numbers? So I think it's a reuse of the same part in different places. I think that comes in when you're setting up the parameters and the BOMs, right, Lucas?
Right. I mean, it really depends. I mean, in the end, we want to, what's the goal? The problem often is if we want to start collecting serial numbers which are in the exact same configuration, and that might be for a company who produces mass products, which then we will take a different bill of material. We would go maybe from the manufacturing BOM, where we don't create a catalog for each order. If you create machines, or let's say like more custom plans, custom machines with variants and stuff, I highly recommend to create serial number specific catalogs. Even if a customer orders 2 or 3 machines of the exact same configuration, you want to create 3 catalogs, because to think down the line, you might on one machine, you might do a retrofit in a couple years, 3 years, to increase the output or whatever, and you want to be able to update. So by that, and at this point, you're going to have 2 different type of catalogs. So yeah.
Okay, and then I think we have time for a couple more questions, so they're still coming in. So another one we just got is, can we show parts that are not for sale but that can be used to help locate other parts?
Totally, yeah. We have an option. Let me see if I.
Yeah. So all right. So while you're showing that, I think so you can give parts different identifications. So if you had a special offer, that's another question that just came in. If you have a special offer that is available on a certain part, that can be flagged as well as part of the shopping cart process, for example, I'm sure.
Right. I mean, there we would go into, pricing, special offers, all this kind of stuff. This would go into customization, where we have interfaces, where we want to show real-time information. Because you have to think about it. If you have a static catalog, a dynamic catalog, but an offline catalog, right, on a CD, you cannot show what's on sale right now, what's a special deal. Because, so this is really, it only makes sense if you have actual online catalogs, and this kind of information you want to pull dynamic right out of the ERP system or wherever you manage your pricing. Yeah, you could show price changes, whatever, but that's really something to look individually how to solve it.
So by the same way, then you could check if there is a particular customer that has a warranty or a credit line. That's all controlled by the ERP interface. Is that right?
Yeah.
But based on the logins and things like that. Okay.
Exactly.
And then I think we have time for one last question here, which is regarding the logins. Is there any restriction on what you can use for a username? For example, could you use a company's domain and usernames and passwords for security credential access? I mean, that's just standard login stuff, I think, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there we're quite open what you want to do. And I here found to go back to the other question, we have an attribute called orderability. So if we get a flag from in the part list, I have to be able to connect it to something. So let's say in the ERP system we have a flag on parts which we say those are not, those cannot be ordered. Then we just create the connection there, and then it shows in the catalog for navigation reasons, but are not orderable. Also, we have spare part spare part, wear part, standard part, all different kind of attributes which can help the customer identify, which I mean it's very handy. If I can go into the catalog, let's see here. These are all, you know, where I can go and filter and say, yeah, I only want to see actual spare parts, you know.
Okay, I think we're running up against the hour mark here, which I think was the webinar period. If there are no more questions, let's, which I don't see any more right now, I'd like to thank everybody for attending. Lucas, great job on the presentation and being willing to go live into some details and show how to make things live there. We will follow up with everybody who attended. We're going to send you the link to the to see the recording so you can share it with colleagues. And feel free to contact us directly if you have other questions that didn't get answered here. So thanks a lot, everybody. And
yeah, there's one more thing. There's going to be another question, so take a moment to answer them.
So you had another question, or?
No, the organizer just wrote.
Oh, so one question I just saw coming is, where is Lucas located? Lucas is in Atlanta. Your office is in Atlanta, right, Lucas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have super access to pretty much every major city in the U.S.
Yeah. We're in Denver, so we have also a good airport here. So.
Right. So yeah, when you close, please take your moment and answer the survey of this webinar. That would be very nice. I would appreciate that.